This is the Crowdcrux Crowdfunding Podcast with Sal Briggman, where we cover everything you need to know to launch a successful crowdfunding campaign. We speak with proven entrepreneurs who've raised money from the crowd and want to teach you how to do the same. Stay tuned because we're about to reveal how to launch your dream project. With your host, Sal Briggman.
Before we get started with this podcast episode, I want to take a second to introduce you to my friends at Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping out your Kickstarter or Indiegogo perks or rewards, Fulfillrite is the absolute best company for you. I've been working with them for a while and I can vouch for their services. They make it dead simple and take all of the headache out of shipping out all of those boxes, all of those orders to your backers and your customers. If you want to check them out, go to fulfillrite.com at fulfillrite.com. What up, crowdfunders? Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. I hope you've had some chances to check out some of the other episodes I put out there. Put out a lot of great, incredible interviews with really exceptional entrepreneurs, and we get into how they were able to raise money online using crowdfunding, using Kickstarter, using Indiegogo, and really how to get attention to their project, how they created their product, how they came up with the idea. We really dive in deep and try to demystify this entire process. And that is my goal here with this show and also with some of the education that I put out there when it comes to crowdfunding. We've been having also a great week thus far. This week, man, has been a lot of writing for me. So I'm writing this book called Finding Home. And if you're not familiar, I'm adopted from El Salvador, and recently I put out this YouTube video on my side channel that basically went into how I was able to find my birth mother in El Salvador. So I went back to El Salvador in January. I filmed the entire process. I was eventually able to find her by having a photo, which I passed out around the town where she reportedly she had grown up in. I didn't know if she was still there. I was able to get some information on her and eventually found someone who knew her, and that's how I was able to locate her. So it's a really crazy, wild story, a lot of emotions involved. And I put out a YouTube video that's done over 100,000 views now on my side channel on YouTube. And I've had tons of people commenting, saying how inspirational it is, how much it made them cry. So it's just a really cool experience to share that with the world. So I'm going to try and go a little bit deeper now and share some of the parts of the story that I haven't revealed before this point. So things like, why did she actually give me up for adoption? How was I able to, navigate El Salvador? What is it like there as a country, a third world country? What was my experience like meeting other travelers? What was my experience personally being adopted, and also some of my friends also who are adopted? What is it like? And obviously the reunion between me, my birth mother, and what did my parents actually think about all of this? So I'm writing a book called Finding Home. It's at very early stages right now. I'm about 30,000 words in. And it's really, it's a lot of work, man, but it's also really fun and like a cathartic experience. So I imagine at some point in time, I'll probably tell you more about Finding Home, but I just want to share that little bit of a life update. And the other really quick update I wanted to share with you guys was, many of you have been liking the episodes I've been putting out recently, I think because it sheds another light when it comes to platforms like Indiegogo, also maybe some of those strategies you might not have considered in the past. Today's episode, we're actually talking about why Indiegogo might be a better fit for your project than Kickstarter. So it's kind of interesting, and we sort of discussed stuff that we haven't really discussed before when it comes to the Indiegogo crowdfunding platform. If you are interested in raising money with crowdfunding, you want to do a crowdfunding campaign, a really great place to get started is this course that I've put out there on Udemy, which accompanies my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. So this course goes into the basics of crowdfunding. How do you build a crowd? How do you actually decide between platforms? What are the best ways to actually use crowdfunding? All the kind of stuff that you might want to know before you get started. And you don't want to spend the time like hunting around the internet for, videos or articles to explain all this. You can find that in this course, the Kickstarter Launch Formula, and it's also on Udemy. So this is the link if you want to get a copy of that and enroll in the course. It's crowdcrux.com/Udemy promo. That is crowdcrux.com/Udemy promo. And that link will take you to a heavily discounted version of the course where you can get in there. You can start to learn. You can also reach out to me if you want to have more personalized attention, and you can sort of get you started in some of the best practices and lesson learns when it comes to crowdfunding. So I hope that you enjoy that. But without further ado, let's get into today's podcast episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. I have with you here today another dual round interview. So Brian actually came on the show in episode number 204, the formula to raise 5 figures from a serial Kickstarter founder, and he's still killing it. His most recent campaign, the EverRatchet, is now in Indiegogo demand, has raised over $165,000, and he's come back today to share some great tips with you. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sal.
Man, what have you been up to? You've been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy. We're still running all the other products, as well as expanding into some new technologies as far as like manufacturing techniques and stuff like that. We've kind of been growing our little business here. It's still run out of our house, but we're trying to grow into new manufacturing techniques and try some new cool stuff.
Nice. How many products do you have now in your online store?
Right now we have 7 main products, and there's different color variations and size variations of each.
Mm-hmm. And what's sort of the theme there? Because I think you guys kind of focus on a very specific niche.
Yeah, so we're in like the everyday carry kind of market right now. So kind of like titanium bottle openers, titanium carabiners, this multi-tool comes in stainless steel and titanium. And then we actually did some like branding opportunities. So we have a bottle opener called Slap Cap where you can get like your company information lasered on it, and we were selling those with Carlsberg over in Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And basically they're using them as like a promotional kind of thing. So we've been trying a bunch of different stuff, and everyone seems to like it, so we'll keep doing it.
Now this most recent product, the EverRatchet, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So everyone's familiar with multi-tools and stuff like that you have on your key rings and stuff like that. And the one thing that all of them have is they have all these different size wrenches. So right, they try and boast, well, we have like 50 features in this one thing and that kind of stuff. And what we did was we took a look at all of them, and we noticed that there was one thing that was missing, and like they all are just like static drivers. So basically when I say static, you have to like put the tool down with the bit in it on the screw, rotate it like a quarter of a turn, pick it up, reposition the tool and the bit, place it back down, and then rotate it again. And it takes like a functional tool and actually makes it quite elementary, and like it makes it so it's not as functional as like it's perceived when it's advertised. So what we did was we said, hey, well, if you can leave the tool like in the position and leave the bit on the screw and add a ratchet feature, then it makes the tool itself a lot more usable, right? So in places where you can't see, where it's like a blind corner, where it's hard to put the bit onto the screw, you can just leave it on and just continue ratcheting.
You also have, it looks like a fire flint, a scraper, 7 different wrenches in this thing. Man, this is like a caveman tool. They needed this back in the day. Could do so much with it.
Yeah, so we have a custom sized fire flint that we designed to fit inside of the tool. So if you're going camping or something like that, you can take it with you. It's called Flint to Go, and it's a super small camping flint, because typically when you use camping flints, you don't need a huge hunking camping flint to take with you. You'll use it in emergency situations only, and that's kind of what the Flint to Go is for.
So did this one also start on Kickstarter, or did you launch this product on Indiegogo?
So we launched this on Indiegogo. We made a jump over. So yeah, all of our previous products we did on Kickstarter and then switched them over to Indiegogo. Mm-hmm. And in this instance, we decided to start with Indiegogo and then obviously continue into the in-demand space on Indiegogo.
And why is that exactly?
I don't know. So Kickstarter has kind of changed a little bit. I'm sure you can speak to this, but it seems like they're promoting more arts, theaters, and movies projects as opposed to design projects, unless the design project is like doing extremely well. And then on Indiegogo, I was noticing that it was a lot more design and mechanical projects and stuff like that. They were still getting recognized.
Yeah.
And which is, I don't know, it's just the difference in the platforms that I've been noticing. Mm-hmm. And I've been able to be in contact with people at Indiegogo. I actually talk to people at Indiegogo, which has been pretty nice. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone at Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The personal experience was a lot better as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really big thing that people have mentioned before. Just the fact the Indiegogo team is a little bit more personal there, and they're willing to actually talk with you. And also, like, I've had talked with other people. I won't name names, but who have said that Kickstarter, they love it. It's very creative bent, but there's almost like a little bit of a shying away from things that are more commercial in nature. It seems like you're really doing this. Obviously, number one, great product, but also you want to build a business out of it. So.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Indiegogo, did you notice anything different with the marketplace when you were live? Like, were you still getting backers from the Indiegogo marketplace? What's the difference like there?
Yeah, so on their back end, they have like their campaign insights and stuff like that. And the one thing that they do, and they have very clearly, is they have stated what % of the backers that they brought to you, whether it be through like their emails, like their discovery platforms and stuff like that. And I went back and looked at the Kickstarter versus the Indiegogo, and it was a tremendous amount higher. So over half of the funds that came into this campaign were driven by Indiegogo.
Really?
Kind of incredible. So we were lucky enough to get into I think we've been in about 4 of their emails right now, just because of how it's performing and how it's selling. And obviously their emails are out there to tell people what's cool, but they're also out there to tell people which one of their products is performing the best, so they can obviously get their 8% on it.
Yeah.
So we were definitely fortunate and lucky enough to be at about 4 emails during the campaign, which is fantastic.
Wait, so let me get this straight. So basically, the Indiegogo marketplace for you was more powerful than what you experienced on Kickstarter.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure.
And that's because of the email blast mainly.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the actual browsing, did you find people were discovering you from that?
Yeah, so we were in top 10. So when we were actually doing our campaign, we were in like the top 10, top 25. We were actually in position 1 for a few days. And that drove a ton of sales. And that was during like the actual campaign, during like the 30-day campaign. And then obviously after the campaign, with the sales like trailing down, and then spiking obviously when they sent out an email. But the emails were pretty incredible as far as the amount of traffic they brought to the site.
Mm-hmm. So let me just ask you that question again. We can edit out that block. So did you also find that people were discovering you from the Indiegogo marketplace as well?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. The Indiegogo so the in demand. We're not in the marketplace just yet. We're getting ready to go into that shortly.
Okay. When it came to when you were live though, and you were live on Indiegogo, like you mentioned the email blasts that Indiegogo was doing as being a really big source of traffic and pledges. Was that also true from like people browsing the actual marketplace on Indiegogo and just like looking around?
Well, we're not in the marketplace. We're in the in demand. So there's the 30 days, and then there's in demand, then there's marketplace, which is after the in demand phase. So we're not in the marketplace just yet.
Yeah, so I guess I'm using the wrong terminology. When you were live on Indiegogo, did you find people on the platform discovering you?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yep.
So it seems to me like this is actually a shift that's happening and that's occurring. Because when I first got into the crowdfunding, it seemed like Kickstarter was actually by far and large like the number one platform to go to. But more and more, I've been seeing success stories just like yours, where physical products, hardware, design are starting to gravitate more and more towards Indiegogo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it's just they're trying to find their own niche within that market, but it seems like I know you do both, but it seems like Indiegogo is kind of taking off as far as crowdfunding, as far as like capturing more of the market and stuff like that.
It's really interesting. And I also think there's a bit of a difference when it comes to the strategy there. So I'd love it if you could just share a little bit with the listeners, like what your strategy was going into this campaign, and how it is you were able to structure the launch. Okay.
Yeah. So like originally, my original strategy from other campaigns was launch on Kickstarter and then convert over to Indiegogo. And then the high level strategy there was that I'll capture some of the audience that's already on Kickstarter, as well as bring my own contributors. And then once I transfer to in demand, so go from Kickstarter to Indiegogo with the in demand program, that I'll capture some of the Indiegogo people as well, right? Because some people just follow one platform exclusively. And for this one, the main thing was get like all of our socials and email lists and stuff like that built up prior, and then basically launch the Indiegogo campaign, and then just stick with Indiegogo, and then go into the in-demand, and then eventually get into the marketplace. Mm-hmm. That's like the high level.
Does the in-demand being in that program, is that a little bit different? Because I know, like, if you're doing a traditional crowdfunding campaign, you're obviously using the money to be able to purchase the inventory. But once you go into in-demand, people can keep continuing to back it. So it's like you're going to have to keep shipping out orders. Like, how does that affect the whole manufacturing process and the fulfillment process?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because, just like you said, the orders just continue to come in. And you almost need to like do them in batch shipments and stuff like that. And we broke ours down by what type of discount people got. So originally during our crowdfunding campaign, our product was 40% off, and we ran that for the 30 days. And then after the 30 days, then we discounted it down to 20. And then it's at 20% now, and then it's going to go to 0% once we get to the marketplace. But like you said, the orders just kind of continue to come in. So you need to do a lot more forecasting. You can't just like order stuff once and then be done. Like, we had to forecast out based on the sales, which were obviously inflated during the campaign, try and figure out what we need to order ahead of time and stuff like that. And you can't see my house, but that's why my house was a disaster during this time, because we had inventory for the first batch, which was the campaign, like the 30-day campaign. We had inventory that was for the in-demand, and then we also had inventory for like our retailers and our distributors that we've built up through the business.
Wow. So you're doing all the fulfillment out of your house, and I guess you're getting from the manufacturer to send it to your house, and then you shipping it out from there?
Yeah, so it comes into our house, like the metal comes to our house, and then we take it to a facility that's nearby, and they do like the tumbling, the finishing, and then it comes back to our house, and we have an industrial laser in our guest bedroom. And it has a 4-inch exhaust pipe that shoots out the side of the house to get the fumes out, and that's where we do all the etching. So all the graphics that are on the lasers, all the graphics that are on the EverRatchets, they're done at our house, and then we do all the packaging and assembling here as well.
That takes a tremendous amount of just like organization and also care, I think. Because you're basically touching both parts of the process there. You're doing the sales, you're doing the marketing, and then you're actually doing the fulfillment. It takes a lot of organization and a lot of planning and sort of project management, I think.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, that's what I did at my previous job. I was a product manager for some mechanical products, and it was kind of the same thing. You had to make sure you got all the products in at the right time to get them out at the right time. And that's you kind of know our history, but like one of our previous carabiner projects, Key Titan, that was like one of our trials for product management. Mm-hmm. Right, we had that has like 7 components that go into it, and they're like textiles, they're like bent springs and stuff like that. And we had to make sure that all that stuff came in at the right time so we could ship it out all together. So we had like a project timeline. We were using product management software and stuff like that to make sure that we were getting our stuff in, make sure we had the right quantities and stuff like that.
So I think we're in a really unique time right now where we can ask you a little bit more in depth about the whole manufacturing process behind your various product lines, because I think you have a really good eye when it comes to that. And I think manufacturing is something where, you know, it's a little bit different. Like on Amazon, you buy a product and it's shipped out the next day or next 2 days or even, you know, the next week. With Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you ship out your product like months later. What is the manufacturing process like for you, and how have you sort of improved that and refined that over time?
Yeah, so it's like you said, like you're kind of like delaying and you're almost like waiting, right? So you have to have everything designed already. You have to have your vendors and backup vendors like lined up, all ready to go. And then they're obviously bothering you trying to get the order in, and you're like, well, wait, I have to wait like another 30 days while I get the rest of the orders in.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you're almost trying to fly below the radar so that people don't start ripping your product off, which we've seen plenty of times for crowdfunding projects in the past. So we were doing with that too. There's been people that have been ripping off the products already, which is kind of unfortunate, but we've been dealing with that separately.
What happens when if the product is ever late in any instance?
So you're saying for
if the manufacturer, when they get the orders to you, if it's late for some reason, like there's a delay in whatever method you're sending it by, or there's a delay on the manufacturer side, like how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so we had pride in ourselves for shipping our 3 previous campaigns anywhere from 2 days to like 2 weeks early. And actually on this campaign, we were just under a month late, but we were also 48 times over our goal. So we were 48 times funded what we were expecting.
Congrats.
So it's a good problem to have, right? Because that means everyone loves the product. But at the same time, we weren't ready for it. And that's kind of like one of those notes that I sent to you to talk about. And it's just kind of like you have to be ready for it. And I think we were ready for it. And what I did to compensate was I just had very open communication with all the backers. So if you go to our comment channel and you scroll down and you look at all the comments on our page, there's very little negative feedback about the product being late and stuff like that. And there's many positive comments about the management and keeping people up to date on what's going on, right? Because no one likes to spend whatever it is going to be anywhere from $20 to $100 on a project, and then have the creator not have any contact with them. Yeah, and then be like, "Hey guys, this is going to be late. We're not shipping it for another 5 months." So we did the opposite. We kind of kept them involved. We sent pictures. We had daily updates, weekly updates, comment updates, and stuff like that. So everyone knew exactly what I was working on at every second.
I think the thing too is like when you don't have that level of communication, people just assume that something is happening. And the longer that it goes without communication, they assume more and more negative things like, oh, this guy's like ripping us off, or this is happening. And you just kind of think of all these crazy things that aren't based in reality, but it's like, you don't know. So by just having that regular communication kind of sets people's minds at ease a little bit, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just kind of gives them the reassurance to see that they can open their phone, they can scroll through the update, they can see, oh, the metal's on its way to the tumbler, right? Some people don't care about that. They just want the product and they just want it when it's going to be shipped. But for most of the people, that's like the fun about backing crowdfunding projects is that you're part of the story, you're part of the manufacturing, you're part of everything. And that's what I kind of did on this one. I tried to do it extremely well with my weekly updates. They're pretty lengthy as far as like what was shipping when we were getting our components in, like product pictures and stuff like that. So everyone seemed to appreciate it very well.
It seems like one of the other things that you learned from this campaign was the dealing with vendors and dealing with people who you're going to have to work with if you want to set up a good supply chain when it comes to like samples of the products, figuring out the packaging, like all of that stuff. Maybe you could speak a little bit to that point of working with vendors.
Yeah, so working with vendors, we had a lot of different ones for this one. And we had backup vendors and stuff like that, which is important, is extremely important to have, both for like figuring out your pricing and also for like call them like emergencies where like your first vendor like just stops, right? So we were getting our flints from one vendor and they basically sent us an email in advance. It was about a month before we had to ship, and they were like, oh yeah, we can't ship you these flints anymore.
What?
These custom fire flints. So I had to like run around and try and get to I had 2 other vendors that I already had quotes with. I had to try and get them lined up, get samples in and stuff like that. We were even working with some big companies like DeWalt. Like all of our tools ship out with a little DeWalt bit. And I ordered some of their stuff from online and it came in wrong, which is interesting for DeWalt since they're like based in the US out of Maryland. So I had to talk to like engineers there to get like the specific bit that I was looking for shipped to my house, and then swap out the 5,000 bits that I ordered for the 5,000 bits that I wanted. And like, so you always have to be ready.
It was a whole nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like every little component you have to expect is going to have a problem. And like, that's kind of the one thing is like, you can't let little things like that upset you, or else you're going to be upset all the time, right? You just need to be able to like step back, look at how you fix it, and then just deal with it.
It's almost like having more of like a problem mindset or like a engineer mindset. Like this is a problem that has to be solved. You don't have emotions involved in that because that's just going to make you have a horrible day. It's going to take that out on the people you're working with. And it's also just going to, in general, not be good vibes for your life.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic way to put it. Exactly.
I had to interrupt this podcast episode because I want to introduce you to my friends at The Gadget Flow. Their product discovery platform reaches 22 million people per month. They've helped more than 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns thus far, and they have a social media following of more than 700,000 followers. If you want to gain access to their marketplace and list your own product, you can go to thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. When it comes to like solidifying that supply chain, so like obviously vendors is one point there. You sort of figured out how you're going to ship this out. When it comes to like calculating this ahead of time, you know, in terms of like the number of orders per unit, like the actual physical mock-up parts, do you have any advice on that, sort of like solidifying that supply chain?
Yeah, so, I mean, you can obviously, when you come up with an idea before you start anything, you need to run through the numbers and make sure like things make sense as far as manufacturing, like your personal time and stuff like that. And I have an example of what we did wrong for that, which is actually kind of funny. So we typically, all of our stuff, all of our other products, they ship out in a 6x8 white cardboard envelope, which is like, it's pretty stiff, so it doesn't bend. But then if people order like a bunch of product, they go into these like pizza style boxes that actually have to be manually folded. Like the tabs have to be folded and you have to like create them. And so I was just running my numbers and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I need about 6,000, 7,000 of these white boxes to ship stuff out in. So I just like kind of like ordered them. And then they showed up and like they're flat when you get them. But then like you look at 7,000 flat white boxes and you're like, oh no, what did I do?
Oh gosh.
Like because now you have to sit and you have to fold every single one, right? And that was like that's what I call like labor content. And that was a piece of labor content that I missed, right? So whenever the person that's running the project is like putting their time in, like whether it's putting parts in the laser, folding boxes, like, right, cleaning stuff off, packaging, there's also like a direct labor amount that gets reflected on that. So you have to keep in mind that it's not just the physical parts, it's also like running to the post office, like running out to get supplies, like all that kind of stuff as well that you have to keep in mind.
So would you almost like list all those elements out now? Like if you're doing a whole new product, you would list out like, okay, I'm going to get the boxes. This is going to take this to assemble. This is going to take this time. Just sort of like list all of that out and it gives you a full idea of the investment sort of there.
Yeah. So I do labor content and the physical, like the actual physical products, right? So for EverRatchet, there's the frame, there's two bands, there's a bit, there's a fire flint, there's like the clamshell and stuff like that. So you can kind of like, from a timeline view, you can write out like, I need to like order the metal, get the metal and get it cut, get it finished, get it tumbled, get it back, clean it, laser it, assemble it, package it, put it in its clamshell, then put it in like its master box, right? There's some things that are physical steps, and then there's some there that are actual, like manufacturing steps where there's like labor involved. And what I was doing was you kind of give yourself like a labor rate of like whatever you want per hour. And then you actually physically run through it and see how long it takes to assemble a product. Like if you have prototypes, obviously that's best because you can have them in your hand. But if not, like if you're trying to like pretend to assemble something, you actually like time yourself and do 10 of them kind of thing. And then just record the amount of time it takes you to do each step. That's
a really good idea, I think. And it's also kind of like the difference of working on your business versus working in your business. It's almost like you have to do both simultaneously, which is very difficult, I think, to manage. You have to be like aware of, okay, you as an employee, maybe someday also replacing yourself. How long is it going to take the person? What are the steps they're going to have to do? And then eventually you can obviously extricate yourself from that process. And then also, obviously dealing with the other elements of the supply chain there. So it seems like you're getting like a crash course in like business management and also how to get these products into the hands of people, coming up with the idea. It's like a crash course in business kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't have an MBA or anything like that. I just have the mechanical engineering degree. But I think my previous job where I was like a product manager on their legal team and stuff like that, they really set me up for doing this kind of stuff where you're doing every single little aspect of your company. And it's just, I find it thrilling. It's so much fun.
I can imagine too, like once you start to get the comments and the feedback, and if you see any of your products on social media, people using it, like that feeling must be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the thing is, for EverRatchet especially, we've been seeing, like, I get a lot of personal messages, comments, and a lot of people posting pictures on Instagram and stuff like that of them using the tool in like real life instances. So it's a cool like thing to just show your friends and like show the ratchet feature, and every person you show it to is amazed at like the ratchet. They're like, wait, let me see that. Let me see how that works. Because it's kind of cool when you actually have it in your hands. But then at the same time, like it's a very functional thing. So the ratchet itself can hold 20 inch pounds, and we were rated up to like 30 inch pounds, which is an extreme amount of torque for something this tiny, which is kind of cool. So like people can, like the one guy, he was fixing the bumper on his truck. We had some guy, he uses it for appliances where his screwdriver doesn't fit between the panel and the wall because the gap is too narrow. He's using it for that. We have some IT guys that are using them to take apart some stacks and stuff like that. So it's kind of neat to see people actually using them in real life situations, which is it's cool.
I think this was your biggest campaign, right?
Yes. Yeah. By far. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when we last talked, I think you were working on the Prime Me, which it was a great project, had like a $17,000 raise, but this one is like in another league, man.
Yeah, definitely. It kicked up to another level. I think just the product's unique. We found like a small niche in a huge market, and it kind of fits a little gap that was open.
Mm-hmm. Did you work with any like companies to help you with this project, or people to help on like the advertising side or anything in that way?
We really didn't. No, actually, I spent the least amount of money on advertising for this one. I think the product spoke for itself, and then we also spent a good amount of time collecting email addresses up front. But apart from that, I mean, we spent very little advertising. We did do some paid advertising with some like blog posts and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I sent out like samples, and had some people that I previously worked with like write some free articles as well. Nice, and like nice. The thing is, once your campaign gets rolling and they see that there's traffic going to your site, they're interested in getting like their name in the search results as well, which kind of makes it interesting, right? So people may be used to whatever, paying like $1,000, $2,000 for some company to write a post about them, right? But we actually got a lot of those kind of posts for free because they actually wanted to write about the product. Like, one, because it was valuable and fit their audience perfectly, and two, because they wanted their name set up with the search results so that they got pushback from the customers that were on our site.
That's really smart. That's a really smart angle. That's also like more of an advanced PR tactic, definitely. Because I'm looking here, you got on Gear Junkie, you got on Trend Hunter, Men's Gear, Cool Material, like all these other blogs that you got on. And I think that's exactly right. Like people, it's almost like you want to hop onto the winning horse, like something that's doing really well. They want to associate their name with you. So that's really powerful that I think you were able to do that. You know, one of the things that like a lot of my students kind of baffles them is understanding how to do this like whole email collection leading up to the campaign. And I'm sure you sent them to a landing page. Did you do like a giveaway, or did you do, you're going to get X% off? Like, how did you tease this product in order to get the emails in the beginning?
It's so hard. And this is actually, I think I asked you this question at the very end of the last interview when I was on here. My question to you is, how do you collect emails without giving away too much of your product? Right?
I hope my answer was good.
And like, so it's hard because, right, if you have a product like this, so we have patent pending on this ratchet feature, like the shape of it and stuff like that, and the function of it, and it's like where it lives. But like, you don't want to like put that out there like months in advance before you even launch your crowdfunding campaign. That's also going to take a month to run, right? Because by that time, before you even launch, someone could knock it off. Yeah. And that's kind of the hard part. So we did a lot of giveaways of like our current products and stuff like that. We actually have like a monthly giveaway where we give away stuff. And we got a lot of emails from that. But I also think that it kind of fits into our current business, and like our current customers are also interested in it, right? So an example is like, we did the Prime Me Brew Soldier, which is the Prime Me, which is like the penny size bottle opener. right? And then we launched the Brew Soldier, which is a key-sized bottle opener. Those markets kind of like butt heads, and they kind of like cannibalize each other, right? Because it's this exact same thing. So like my Prime customers necessarily didn't want a Brew Soldier because they already had a bottle opener on their keychain that they liked, right? So, and then it's kind of similar with this. Like this has a bottle opener on it, but it has a lot more function to it, which is kind of cool. And I think that's where we recaptured some of our previous customers that like are using our Prime Brew Soldier, and even our carabiners that have bottle openers built into them. They wanted this kind of thing too because it had the bottle opener and it also had all this additional gear on it, which is neat.
I'm speaking to the crowdfunders in the audience who have already launched a Kickstarter campaign, or have actually even successfully run a campaign. And the reason is, I think you will understand this pain point most. And that is, when you finally do raise money on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the hardest part is not collecting the cash. The hardest part is shipping out all of those perks and rewards to your backers. It is a nightmare, my friends. It's a lot of spreadsheets, it's a lot of headache, and it's a lot of stress. That's why I recommend BackerKit. If you have not heard of BackerKit, they help you collect surveys, they help you collect data, and the entire fulfillment process is just so much easier and so many less spreadsheets when you use their software. You can check them out at backerkit.com and use CrowdCrux for a special discount. I think the difficult thing is a lot of the times with giveaways, the email addresses you get are kind of low quality. You might get a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're buyers. But what's cool about what you've been doing is you've been building up this ecosystem where someone buys your one product and they're basically validated as being a buyer. Like they're interested in spending money on this problem. They like this type of thing. So if you introduce them to another product or another campaign, they're more likely to convert. Versus if you collect emails of people that aren't buyers, it's harder to do that and get that conversion. So I think you have a really powerful ecosystem there, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. Like people that are potential customers that sign up for giveaways, right? If they're signing up for a giveaway for an $11 bottle opener, they either don't want the product, but they're willing to take it if they get it for free, right? Because $11 is not that much to spend on like a bottle opener, like even like if it's like a premium one kind of thing. So I think what you're saying is correct, and like converting that type of person into someone who's going to buy at the time, or now they are like $28 and $37 tools, right? That's an even harder sell kind of thing.
Do you have any thoughts on what you would do then in that case? Like if you were to, tease this to a whole cold group of audience, people who are not on your email list, would you have tried to like offer this for a discount and collect emails? Would you have, would you even show the image? Like, did you play around with that at all?
We showed, the first time we actually showed a physical image or like an actual picture of it was on social. About a week before. It was six days before we launched the campaign was the first time anyone saw what it looked like. And that was a pretty crazy week. So we were trying to like push the image to as many places as possible. We were trying to set up all the writers, so they're all queued up to write about it. So all this stuff went out at the same time. So everyone got introduced to it at the same time. But as far as like the email list of like people that we currently had, it was a lot of our pre-existing customers and like our giveaway email list and stuff like that. I think we only gathered about 250 new emails prior to the start of this campaign, like people that were like interested in it, like in that 6 days there.
Just having my wheels spin here really quickly. One of the things that could be interesting going forward is if you took a bit of a different approach and did something like creating a list of everyday carry essentials in 2019. And you just list out like 10 of the items or something, and people would give their name and email for that kind of a free thing. And then after that, you can market to them saying, oh, by the way, we came out with this whole new one. This is like number, this one should also be on your radar here. That could be interesting. Because then those people that want that free, everyday carry essentials, they're basically looking to buy different products that are in that industry.
Sure, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then they're already queued up and they like that type of product. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Man, I'm getting excited about this. It's cool. You've had this success. I think you're growing a lot. What would you say like your next step is here? Like, are you coming out with more products? Are you going to try to remove or extricate yourself from the process of fulfillment? What's like your next goal here?
So we've added a couple more stuff to the store. We actually have some other people's products in our store now as well. We have some other things that like fit well with our products. And we have some stuff that our backers actually ask for. So like we're looping back. I always like throughout the campaign, I was always asking our backers like what they want. The one thing everyone wanted is they wanted like a sheath to hold the tool. So I have a meeting. I've had like 2 meetings so far, and we're doing our prototypes on Thursday of this week for a sheath for the EverRatchet. Which basically will hold the tool and like one more bit, or like the custom fire flint if you want to carry both that and the bit with you. We're gonna do that, and then also we might be working on a new version as well, which might be coming out soon.
Very cool. Where can people go to learn more about the EverRatchet and also some of the other products you have out there?
Yeah, so you can check it out. It's on gearinfusion.com. And we have the entire lineup of products there. We have our products. We have custom laser products and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool site. I mean, even if you're not interested in purchasing everyday carry items, we have our complete business story on there. It's just a neat website to just bounce around and look at the different products and stuff, and kind of learn a little bit more about the company and how it's grown and stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Cool, man. My final question for you is, so next campaign, you think you're going to do Indiegogo again? Like, is Kickstarter no more for you, or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think Kickstarter's no more for me.
Wow. That's insane.
So the people at Indiegogo were beyond fantastic, and like they obviously didn't ask me to say this or anything, but I probably have had contact with about 7 different people from Indiegogo. Everyone, like, because they have different segments of people that you work with. So when you're working on your actual campaign, I had someone review my campaign and take a look at it from Indiegogo to make sure it looked nice and stuff like that. They helped me set up the perks, make decisions on perks, like what quantities I should offer and how many perks I should offer. Like, you don't like overflow people with options. And then I had people help me on the in-demand setup, and I'm working with 3 people right now to set our stuff up in the marketplace. It's an incredible company. It's the personal touch, I think. And if Kickstarter had people you could actually talk to, it may be a different story. I enjoy talking to the people, which is it's great.
I think it's also more transparent because like they have Go Factor, and I know like some of my other students, they will share with me that depending on how much you raise, they can also promise like certain things. Where maybe they promise like to put you in the newsletter if you get to this amount, or you do this by this time. So they're a little bit more willing also, I think, to haggle, or to barter a little bit there.
Yeah, they do have that. So I'm not going to mention their numbers, but they do have, if you raise X amount in a certain amount of time, then you get placed in one of their email blasts. And that's how we got into our first email blast with them, because we were hitting numbers that made them happy.
Yeah, awesome. Also, I'm not going to say which campaign this was, but I recently was working with a student, and one of the things happened that like this never happened in my experience in crowdfunding history, where Indiegogo was willing to allow you to cash out early a little bit in order to fuel your Facebook ad expenditure. And I literally never heard of that. And I can't cite where that's from. But that was really interesting from what I heard. So they're a little bit more fluid about it seems, and more willing to work with you.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, I think that's the thing too, right? They're running a business, but at the same time, they want to see you succeed too, right? Because if you succeed, they succeed, right? And they want to make everyone on the platform happy. So if that means like allowing people to cash out early so that you can start working your orders early, well, that's great. I mean, or like continue marketing to bring them more money. I mean, that's fantastic. And I think that's the thing, is that they're more in sync with working with you. And that's kind of why I appreciate it more. I mean, Kickstarter is a great company as well. Like
they're awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Kickstarter at all, but just the experience with Indiegogo, I'll definitely be back.
Awesome, Brian. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Also, your last episode, 204, you shared tons of great stuff. You shared even more. I think you topped yourself in this interview. So next time you set the bar pretty high.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Hope you've been enjoying this show thus far. Hope you've also learned something when it comes to comparing Kickstarter with Indiegogo, just sort of discovering which platform that you should use, which one is going to be best for you and your project, and also some of the things that go into the actual manufacturing and supply chain of creating a product and actually getting it out there into people's hands. So we covered a lot of stuff, a lot of territory, I think, on today's episode. If you want to gain more access to more comprehensive training when it comes to crowdfunding, understanding the basics of crowdfunding, how does this work? What are the differences between these different platforms? How do you actually structure a campaign, a pre-launch, all that kind of stuff? You don't want to spend the time like hunting around online for scattered articles that only give you a little bit of a view of it, and also videos that are just all over. It's very difficult, I think, to nail down a step-by-step curriculum, and that's what I've done with the Kickstarter launch formula on Udemy. So the Kickstarter launch formula is available on Amazon, on Audible. You can grab the paperback version, but I decided to put together a Udemy version as well, so you can actually go through some of the video training modules related to that, and get all of that information in your head, primed and ready to go before you go live with your campaign. So if you want to check out that course and enroll, you can go to crowdcrux.com/Udemy promo. That is crowdcrux.com/Udemy promo, and that link will unlock a very significant discount for you as part of my promotion with Udemy. So I hope you enjoy it. I also hope you like this episode and some of the other episodes we got out there with the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. I will see you next time.